Sup peeps, my name's Ian, I sell books on eBay. But over the last year, I've also sold a lot of other stuff. Started off selling clothes and just bric-a-brac and a few books. Slowly niched down over a few months until, 95% of what I sell now is just books. But that's been a year. I've had an eBay account for many, many years, but I really started taking it seriously at the start of November last year. So now that we're into November of this year, November 2023, I decided I'd have a wee look back over the last year and see if it's been worthwhile. So before I get into the numbers and what we've actually done, what type of things we've been selling, I've tried for the most part to spend a maximum of 2 hours a day on eBay. That's 7 days a week, so 14 hours a week, but let's call it 15 for the sake of argument. So 15 hours a week for the last 52 weeks is quite a lot of time, but we'll take that into account when we're looking at how much money has actually been made and whether or not it's worthwhile doing this at all. Okay, let's have a wee look at those magical numbers. Here it is. It's numbers. So I've filtered all of my sales from the 1st of November last year to the 1st of November, the 31st of October this year. So that's given us a full 365 days and we can see exactly what's been done. So bear in mind what I said, 15 hours a day, a week, I apologise, 15 hours a week. Sometimes it'll have been a bit more, sometimes it'll have been a bit less, but that's a pretty fair representation, and that equates to 780 hours over the course of the year. So we'll keep that number in mind, working out what everything's worth, really. So in that year, I have made £48,386 in sales. My eBay selling costs, so that'll be fees and postage where I've used the eBay platform, has been 19,273, which means my net sales have come in at £29,112. So first thing we'll do is get a baseline on that there. So if we take 29,112 and divide it by 780 hours, top end we're looking at £37 an hour. That's equated to over the course of a year. So that's quite a good rate. However, we need to look a wee bit deeper than that because obviously I've got buying cost. If we look there, I've sold 6,927 items. Let's call it 7,000 to keep it nice and simple. My average buy cost over the year has been £1. So we need to take 7 grand off of that 29,000. So we're going to round it down to £22,000. And we'll divide that by 780. So suddenly we're all the way down at £28 an hour, which is still pretty good. Not a bad rate. You can't really sniff at it. There's other costs which are not taken into account there. I spend approximately £40 to £50 a month on packaging supplies, so that's another £600 to come off of that 22. So let's say 21,400. We also have other sundry costs such as fuel, shampoo, just other bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to knock off another 400 quid and that'll take us down to 21,000 that we've earned, net of all selling costs over the year, and we're going to divide that by 780, which gives us a much more realistic figure of £26.90 an hour over the course of a year. So that's quite a good rate. It'd be nice to be able to do that 40 hours a week, but at the moment it's been around about that 15 hours a week as it goes. So to make just shy of £27 an hour, what have I had to do, what have I had to sell? So first up, let's have a look across here. So as I've already said, just short of 7,000 items have been sold over the year. Average sale price of only £7, £6.99. A few auctions over the year, not many. The majority of that has been by fixed price items. I've had 3,300 buyers, which means on average people are buying 2 items from me every time they come shopping, and a lot of that's down to the book sales, but I'm quite happy with that. It would be nice to see that go up over the next year because there's more and more books, and really we get into the books in a big way just halfway through the year probably, so that'll make an impact this time around. So 97.3% of those buyers, 3,230 were one-offs, but we've had 88 repeat buyers over that period, and those repeat buyers have actually, a lot of them come back multiple times. Next down, what have we actually sold? Let's expand this down here. So books, comics, magazines, that's always been the biggest focus. So £19,850 worth of books, comics and magazines sold in that main category, which is 40% of our overall sales. However, if I just skip down a little bit, we do have some other book categories. Books, comics and magazines, so adult learning, so that's all the school and education books, another £400 have sold through those, so that really needs to be added in to that total 19,000, so that takes us over 20,000. There is another category in here which may not be separated out enough. No, it's not. So we've got the likes of the Warcraft games books, etc. We've sold a few of them, so there's maybe another £100 to add on to that there, but still 20,200 there or thereabouts of that total sales volume of 48,000 came from selling books. So that's a big chunk. As I said previously, I also spent a lot of time selling clothes, so £4 on jackets, and well, coats, jackets and waistcoats. Weren't many waistcoats in there, I'll tell you. Well, there were a few. Nearly £1,800 in jeans. Jeans are not a bad thing to sell. 1,200 t-shirts. Another 800, well, nearly £900 in women's coats. Jumpers and cardigans, £700. Just trousers, so not even jeans, just trousers, 650. Shirts and tops, 640. Trainers, 550. So that's a big chunk was clothing. That was mostly at the end of last year and the start of the year when I was picking up a lot of clothing, but I find it an awful pain, so I don't do too much with it. Other big categories. So I had a couple of bikes that I sold, which was quite good. Music CDs, sold a lot of classical CDs over the years, so that's nearly £1,000. We had an old Apple Mac that we got rid of. DVDs, so I've been selling a lot of DVDs recently, not so much earlier in the year, but nearly £725 worth of DVDs have sold. £620 in toys and games. That number actually surprised me when I saw it because I didn't think I'd sold that many. And another number that really surprised me, it was nearly £500 in jigsaws. So I've picked up a lot of jigsaws over the year. If you see something for £1, you pick it up, put it out for it'll be the equivalent of £10 with free postage, or £7 with postage. So I was quite surprised to see that nearly £500 in sales had come from those jigsaws. And down at the bottom there, £370 in suitcases. So whenever I see a hardshell suitcase in any of the charity shops, typically they're only looking for, between £2 and a fiver for them. I'll just grab them, get them listed, stick them out in the garage or up in the loft, and they can sit there until they sell. But if you buy it for £4, you're usually going to get 30 to 50 for it, so they're well worth. If you've got the space is always key. You've got the space and somewhere to stick them long term, then that's absolutely ideal and the way to do it. A few more insights into how the year went. So you can see in November we were just getting started, and it was right at the start of November. I started out with £80 because I sold some stuff in Vinted and took that £80 and started flipping it. And obviously Q4, November, December was a good time to get started because it gave me a really strong push right at the start, and very quickly got up to nearly £5,000 in sales in that second month. January slowed down a little bit, February slowed down a little bit, and you can see that trend going all the way down to May. And this was where I decided to start niching down into the books much more specifically, and you can see as I've increased that book stock that it has gone up. This is also, as you can probably tell, where I stopped doing free postage. Free postage was just not working, especially with low value items. You can sell stuff for £1, but it's going to cost you £4 to post it, so you need to be charging postage and find a way to do that. And you can see how that peaked up over the summer, and then it's dropped off again in September and October. So I'm not quite sure what's caused that trend there, but already in November it's beginning to pick back up for this new November and this second year that we're into running the business like this. It's on the rise. I have decided that although books remains my 99% focus, I'm going to be a wee bit more open to seeing what I can pick up. A lot of shops at the moment are putting out their Christmas stock, so the charity shops as well as your normal retail stores, so there's much more opportunity to be picking up toys and games and that kind of gift stuff, which will sell all year, but if you can get it now, you might get it turned around before Christmas, which is what worked very well for me last year. So if I could add my current book sales, which are over here, to that kind of additional sale, then the sky's the limit for what can be achieved in December, and that would be a fantastic result. So I'm having a wee look at how we can focus on that there. Selling costs. Now this has to be taken with a pinch of salt because not all postage costs are captured here, only the ones that you actually pay for via eBay, which is up and down all over the year. But the eBay fees are quite pertinent, shall we say. So £12,500 to eBay in fees. That's a lot of money. It really is a lot of money when you see it like that. Insertion fees, so that's where I've gone over my monthly limit based on my shop, £329. Final value fees, nearly £7,500, and then my promoted fees. So the standard promoted fees, £3,828.40 is what they've had out of me for my promoted fees. So 4,277 altogether. So when you stick those two numbers together, that is where the majority of the 12,000 obviously comes from. But you can see it's a substantial amount of the money that you make goes out in these fees, so it's a bit harsh. What have been my biggest sellers? We'll run through the top of the screen here. So James Patterson books, 294. Lee Child, 214. Baldacci, 128. Grisham, 127. DVDs, the classic ones, 120. Cussler, 104. Peter James, 102. Rankin, 96. David Williams, 95. Harlan Coben, 92. Danielle Steele, 89. Wilbur Smith, 75. You get the picture. There's a lot of authors that now I've got the data, I can see which ones sell in the greatest volume. Some of these, there's only been a handful of sales, but when people buy them, they buy 10 at a time. The other key bit to look at here is, although that's been £831 in total sales, my net sales have only been £420. So 294 sales to make £420. It's not great, but all of these numbers obviously add up to the big number up at the top. So I'm not going to go any further on these screens because it's really just those top ones that are relevant for seeing how it works. That is what I have had to do in the last year to get a total of £48,386.53 in sales on eBay, which has resulted in a net profit of approximately, let's just call it 20 grand, and that's been working about 15 hours a week. So if you were to double that up to a normal working week of 40 hours, well, that wouldn't be a double, it would be a wee bit more. Let's work that out. So we go 20 divided by 52 is £384 a week, divided by 15 is £25 an hour, times 40 to get us a 40-hour week. So if we were able to get that result by working a full 40 hours, so more than doubling up what we're doing there, then that would result in an annual income of approximately £53,000. So it's at the right level to make a reasonable living, but it's just having the space, the stock, and the opportunity to create that, multiply it, and get all the way to the top. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk to you about today. I've been listing lots of books, such as The Famous Five. More videos coming all the time. I don't have a schedule yet, I just do them when I've got time. But yeah, that is how I achieved £48,000 in sales and made about 20 grand working roughly 15 hours a week, every week. I haven't had a week off, every week for the last year. Thanks for watching. If you like it, hit the like button, subscribe, do all of that stuff that people ask you to do all the time. Much, much appreciated. Showing you my thumbs, but you couldn't see them there. And that's me for today. So, love you, see you, bye!